Hello guys, welcome to another backtesting video. Today I'll be backtesting the data of November 22nd, Wednesday, and yeah, that's my backtesting for today. So without wasting any time, directly going to the point, we can clearly see the market on the daily is trending up. So what makes sense, bro? It makes sense to buy, and it's also aligning with my weekly bias being bullish. My weekly bias is bullish. Friday closed as a bullish candle. Monday I was looking for buys, didn't got our setup, but even though it was a higher time frame, good bias day, bullish. Tuesday was bullish. So until and unless you might be arguing, bro, there is a fair value gap. Yes, there is a fair value gap, but until and unless the market shows me that it want to go and fill up that, we will not predict the move, and we will not predict that it is gonna go and take the fair value gap, because we can be wrong, bro. So whatever the market is doing, that's what matters. So daily bias was bullish. On DXY, the daily bias was bullish, right? You may be shocked now. Oh, bro, DXY is going bullish, GU is going bullish. How does it works? How does it work? What are you gonna do in situations like this? In situations like this, the best is not to trade. To be honest, not to trade. But just because I'm backtesting, yeah, I am taking every possible scenario. In DXY, we can clearly see it wants to go up. The price is showing that it wants to go up to make a lower high. Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, to make a lower high, maybe fill up this small fair value gap, or even fill up this fair value gap in the daily. So that is what I was thinking. And on GBP USD, the bias was still the buyers were still so strong. That is the reason I was looking for buys. But the reason I have taken buys on Wednesday was purely based on my strategy, Asian range liquidity sweep. Only the bias was not clear, and others, everything was clear. Every single thing aligned with my strategy. That's why I took the trade. Always compare your GU bias with DXY, because sometimes they're doing the same thing, which is not ideal. Okay, 100%. And this trade was purely based on the M15 fair value gap inside the Asian range. That was on Monday. So this is the Monday. So this on Wednesday. Now, if I show you the lower time frames, the price action was clearly bullish, making this was the last low that caused the high. Also the break of structure on the 4-hourly. The previous week high has been taken very, very early on the week, which is not ideal again. That's showing that huge buying is happening. And also on the hourly, the price action is clearly bullish, making higher highs and higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and this is accumulation, right? Now this, as traders, we know this as an accumulation, or when the market is now reach a top or bottom, the market usually does this. Look at this, bro. That's a pattern. The market literally tries to tell you what it want to do. Literally, it was going up, making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, continuation models, yeah? So now it is accumulating in an area. So there is high chance. Also the higher time frames, comparing with DXY, there is a fair value gap to the downside. So even if we bring all of that together, it also makes sense to go down, because accumulation, manipulation, distribution, we know that, right? And also when the trend is at the top and it makes sense to go down, what the smart money does is equal highs and equal lows, like it is doing here, and gain liquidity, because the price needs liquidity to make a move. It does something like this, and then pretty much have the distribution move. So we as traders, we want to be on the distribution move, as we can see here. And yeah, this was some insider information given by me. So if you take whatever I'm saying and apply it, bro, you're gonna be profitable, mate. And also on DXY, the same sort of thing, but DXY has now shifted. Look, on GU, what the price was doing, it was accumulating, yeah, but on DXY, it has now started the uptrend, which is also showing that now the bulls are stronger on DXY, and GU has no clear bias yet. So now going on Thursday, I was looking for buys, and also on Wednesday, there was no news on London, and on New York there was unemployment claims news, which was a high impact news. So we will be careful. We will trade London session. So now after that, all I can do is mark an H1 demand. This was the H1 demand which I could spot. There was no demand here. Even if there was a demand here, I would not consider that, because of this accumulation, high accumulation in this zone. This was a low that caused this high, yeah, and this low caused another high. but that was mitigated many times, so very low probability of that zone getting respected again. So this was the only zone that I was looking for, and I waited for Asian range to close. And what after Asian range closed, what I did was I went to DXY to compare. DXY, the Asian high was literally getting, the Asian high was very close. Yeah, so we want the Asian high to close, sorry, Asian high to sweep in DXY and Asian low to sweep on GBP USD. So at this point I go to the lower time frames, and like the 15 minutes, I watch the markets on the hourly, don't get me wrong, but in this case, because I'm backtesting, I am watching on the M15. But usually in the live markets, what I do is, look, because why I like watching the markets on the H1 is, on the H1 time frame, this whole move is one move. Yeah, this is the higher high, but on the M15 this is higher highs, higher lows, so much of extra noise here, right? But even though the higher time frame is king, we know, so something like this, we are looking for something like this. This is a demand that caused this huge impulsive move, and now I will need the lower time frame to reach this zone and then pretty much look for buys from that area. So the first trade was here, somewhere around here, 12:15, but I don't trade as the daylight savings has been closed. So now the London session opens at 1:30 Indian Standard Time. So I didn't trade at the first entry because I was so certain, or I was not convinced to trade this, because this could be inducement as it was, and also the Asian low liquidity got swept, the previous structural liquidity got swept, H1 demand order block mitigation, there was inducement, Asian low liquidity swept. So everything we want to see in a trade was here. Every confluence that we look for a trade was here. That is the exact reason why I took this trade. There was also inducement, and we know that inducement makes the trade even stronger. And what I did was, after the inducement, I entered somewhere around here on 1430, which is 230 candle, which was also aligning with this 230 candle on DXY. So this was the exact reason I was looking for a trade somewhere around here. And yeah, and let's see how this trade does. Even though the bias, higher time frame bias, was not the cleanest, we can still take trades and win it, bro. This was not a, obviously I will not hold this trade throughout, because there is a fair value gap on the downside to fill, and DXY is not aligning. So obviously I will take my 1:3. It was a 1:3. I took my 1:3, and then boom, I bounce, I don't stay. If I did that, it was a winner, and after that it literally continued with the DXY and then continued heading towards the downside. So it was a good setup, you can say, but higher time frames was a little bit not aligning. So that's why, and I've also journaled this trade because I'm backtesting. Yeah, so yeah, we can consider taking these types of trades.